How we doing? It's been a little while. I guess I'll open it up for questions. Actually, first and foremost, I wanted to congratulate Luke Kuechly on the Hall of Fame. Couldn't go to a more deserving guy. The competitor, the instincts, the playmaking ability, and then the person he is off the field. It couldn't have happened to a better person. So, really happy for Luke.
I guess that's the perfect way to segue. You guys, former linebacker, Duke's got the success, Thomas, all those guys. You guys are known as linebackers, defense. What's next in that position?
Yeah, I think, in terms of free agency and the draft, I think that's a position that we'll, try to attack. We're looking for guys that are leaders, that are playmakers, and that are culture fits for us. So we're excited about attacking that and putting the work in.
Dan, speaking of, I guess, segue, NFL has seen the undervalued position of linebackers, off-the-ball linebackers being drafted high. How do you kind of speak to that position value that matches?
Yeah, I think the linebacker position is super valuable. That's the guy that's standing in front of your huddle every single play. The D line's looking at him, the DBs are looking at him, and they're looking at him for leadership. So I think that position right there is super valuable, and it's one that I think everybody should really value high.
How is NIL impacting the mid to late round draft picks? And do you see it as a positive or potential negative?
I don't really look at the NIL as a bad thing. I think the NIL is actually somewhat of a good thing because it gives us a little bit of a snapshot of a guy, what he's like with money. So from my perspective, it's good to kind of see, like, what did he do with this money? Did he spend it recklessly? Did he go out and, get in trouble with it? So it tells you a lot about somebody. So if anything, I think it's really valuable for us. I don't think anything is going to be off the table. we'll explore that. We'll talk to his agent, but I wouldn't say anything's upcoming, but we'll definitely stay in that, and we'll see where that goes. Know a lot about him. Obviously, when guys get cut, I watch every guy that gets cut. So do the pro scouts. They do a great job as well. So still playing at a really good level. Has had a lot of sack production throughout his career. Just a really good player, and that's something that we'll stay in and we'll explore.
As far as NIL, the draft availability, the numbers continue to fall when it comes to underclassmen enrollees. Do you see it as a positive or a negative? I mean, with each draft, that you may have fewer underclassmen because they are staying in school.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the negatives. There's some guys this year that I watched that I wish would have came out, but there's also some that came out. So I think, our job is to just evaluate who's available and go from there. So, we're excited about this draft class, and, there's some really good underclassmen. There's some good, seniors. So I don't really think it matters too much. We just got to evaluate who's at our disposal.
And we haven't talked to you since Hickey had his surgery.
Yeah.
How did that go? What's the timeline? And how does that change the way you're approaching this offseason?
First of all, the surgery went really well. Icky's doing really good. He's recovering, feeling good. I just talked to him the other day. So he's in good spirits. Unfortunate what happened. Obviously, timeline-wise, I don't really have a timeline. We'll see how it progresses. We'll see how it goes. But so far, it's looking good. And, as far as the timeline, I don't have that right now. In terms of it impacting the draft, free agency, offensive line is a position that we're always going to be looking at, always trying to upgrade and have as much depth as possible there. So we're just, going to attack that like we usually do.
Dan, you have understanding, have a specific time. Talking to people that has it's significant.
Yeah.
Do you anticipate this
I mean, I don't know that. I think our trainers have done a really good job with him so far. He is making progress. I don't have a timeline on it. I really don't. But, I'm optimistic that Icky's going to put the work in and he'll be ready, when that time comes.
And staying on the offensive line, last year you all brought pretty much the entire unit in. This year you got 4 guys free agency. Is the plan to try to keep everyone together kind of like you did last year, or are you guys
I mean, we're talking to all of our free agents, and that includes the offensive line. We're going to stay in contact with the agents, and, we'll see where it goes. But, again, we're going to try to create as much depth and competition as possible there, and, that's with every position on the roster.
Dan, with that said, though, you have a top 3 payroll for O-line and D-line. How do you kind of share the wealth with other positions this offseason, knowing that you have center open and left tackle potentially open as well?
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit by design too. When I took over this job, the number one thing I wanted to do is make us strong on both sides of the ball, and that's never going to change as long as I'm the GM here. So, what was the second part of your question?
Just how do you kind of spread the wealth out, in free agency spending wise when you have such a high payroll for both offensive and defensive line?
Yeah, I mean, we have cap room. There's different ways to create more cap room if we see fit. So we're just going to continue to just add good players to our roster, great players to our roster, and no matter what position it is, we're just going to try to make this roster as strong and as competitive as it can be.
What kind of trust do you have in the rest of the running back room with Rico Dowling and Chuba in that room? We talked about Jonathan Brooks and ETN. What kind of trust do you have?
Got a lot of trust in them. I think Chuba's proved that he can be a number 1 back. He can carry the load, which he has done. In terms of Jonathan Brooks coming back, we're excited about that. His rehab, he's doing a great job with that, making a lot of progress. So we feel good about him. We're happy for him. We're optimistic for him. And then Trevor Etienne, who we drafted last year, we're really excited about him. We think he's got a bright future, and I think he's going to be one of those rising stars in this league. So we feel good about the room, but again, that doesn't mean we won't add to that room, whether in free agency, re-signing people, or in the draft. So we're just going to attack every position. I wouldn't say he exceeded my expectations. He was everything that we thought he was going to be. Just a big, talented receiver that can run the route tree. He's got great hands. He's got run after catch. So he definitely was everything we thought he was. And, just like everybody, he's going to improve. He's going to get better. The more experience he gets in our scheme, the more continuity he creates with Bryce. So he's just going to keep getting better and better, and I think the future is bright for him and for our team. Who's that? Yeah. Yeah, I think a veteran, obviously you bring a veteran in who's played a lot of football. That's obviously going to help your team, but we're really excited about our young guys. Scorton and Princely, we drafted them for a reason. We drafted them high for a reason. We think they're super talented guys that can be impact players in this league, and they're going to keep developing. They're going to keep getting better. And, again, I think the future is really, really bright for those two guys, and they're going to help us out a lot.
John Schneider gave you a lot of credit for your recommendation of Mike McDonald. What do you see there, and does he owe you a couple of years or something? How do you settle that for you?
No, just helping a friend out. I think, John asked me about him, and obviously I gave him a really good recommendation. Mike's a great guy, great coach, and just really happy for them. Yeah, I think that's a great question. First off, condolences go out to him and his family, friends, loved ones. It's just super tragic. And me being a former player, I'm always trying to help our players out and guide them. I know what they're going through on a day-to-day basis. I went through that myself. I went through a lot of injuries as a player. It's not easy. You feel alone at times. You feel like, people kind of abandon you a little bit. But at the same time, that's the advantage I have being the GM of the Panthers, to where I can help these guys out. I understand what they're going through. I'm here for them. And then obviously there's always going to be resources. We have a great psychologist on our staff who players can talk to at any time. And we're just always here to support them. They know we're here for them, and that'll never change. What's that?
What would you say about Rico and Murray?
Yeah, I think with Rico, obviously I love Rico. Great guy, great player. Had a great year for us this year. I think, in terms of he's earned the ability to go out there and see what's out there for him. There's always the potential that he could come back. The door's open for that, and, we'll see what happens. I don't think so. I think, it's a case-by-case basis thing. I think Javonte's separate from Rico. It's a pretty deep free agent running back class. So we'll see what happens. And, again, I wish the best for Rico, if he does go out and find something, find a big deal. But there is always that potential. Maybe we could bring him back. Anything else?
Dan, when we're talking about the pass rush, you've spoken about how the pass rush was integrated. Where do you start? Does that start in free agency? How focused are you within the draft? Obviously, there's been a lot of important pieces on the last year. Is it a position that this is going after? Can you just kind of speak on that?
Yeah, I don't think you can have too many really good pass rushers. So, the combination of free agency, the combination of draft, there's some good players in both that we're excited about. So we'll see how it shakes out. We're obviously evaluating them. We're putting the work in, and we'll see what happens.
Is there a concept of like you want to bring in veteran presence to continue the development of
Yeah, I mean, there's the potential for that. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, and you never know who you're going to sign or who may want to come here. But all options are on the table right now. I think it's a good point to bring a vet in. That can never hurt, but at the same time, you can't go chase guys either.
And then finally, can you give us an update on Pat Jones?
Yeah, he's doing good. He's fully cleared. He'll be ready to go next year, and yeah, he's doing great. He did a great job in rehab, putting the work in and getting himself back, and he looks great, and we're excited to get him back.
Dan, you've now done this 3 times as a GM. How is this different for you now than it was first, second time you did it?
I think like the first time you do it, everything's new, right? So everybody's in your face at the podium. It's kind of overwhelming a little bit. So I think like the longer you're in it, the more you get used to it, the more you get comfortable, and you start, just kind of settling into the position. So yeah, I think I'm always going to be trying to learn, always trying to get better with everything I do, with processes, with evaluations, just always trying to get better, always trying to help my staff, and and them doing to me likewise. So just kind of being that servant leader.
Dan, last year you basically got subtracted at the spot during training camp because you guys put Jonathan Brooks on the season.
Yeah.
Up list, there's some confusion there. Have you talked to the league at all about that whole procedural element? You basically you had 89 guys.
Yeah, I actually did bring that up. We're still working through all that type of stuff, but that is something I brought up. Having 89 guys when you're going to put a guy down on IR. So I think from a player safety and just keeping guys healthy, I think it would be a good idea to definitely change that.
Do you think you'll propose that potentially as a rule change?
Yeah, I think it's definitely the potential of that.
And you mentioned you drafted 2 young pass rushers last year, second and third round. Is there anybody, I think of you guys drafted, their level, or what do you see that class?
Yeah, I think it's a really good group of edge rushers, first round, second round, third round. I think it's a pretty deep edge class that we're excited about. And again, if the possibility of one of those guys is there at our picks, we'll definitely consider it. But again, we're always going to draft best available players. So if that's the best available player, then so be it.
Thanks, Dan. We're going to do a scrum in the back corner, guys, for whoever wants to join.
Cool.